When a man becomes deeply captivated by a woman, one of the earliest and most powerful indicators appears in the way he begins to prioritize her presence in his life. This priority does not always appear through dramatic declarations or constant compliments. Instead, it reveals itself through steady, meaningful effort. A man who is truly fascinated does not treat time with her as something optional or convenient. Even with a busy schedule, he naturally begins arranging his day in ways that allow space for her. This might show up through thoughtful messages during the day, invitations to spend time together, or simple check-ins that show she is on his mind. What makes this behavior significant is the consistency behind it. Anyone can show interest once or twice, but genuine fascination creates a pattern. You notice that he continues showing up, not because he feels obligated, but because he genuinely wants to. His attention becomes intentional. He does not disappear for long stretches and suddenly reappear with vague explanations. Instead, he maintains a rhythm of communication that feels dependable. This steady presence sends a quiet but powerful message that she matters in his daily world. People naturally protect their time and energy, so when someone willingly invests both, it reveals what they truly value. The more a man prioritizes a woman, the more naturally she becomes part of his everyday thoughts. She is no longer just someone he speaks to occasionally. She becomes someone whose presence he looks forward to. That anticipation is important because it transforms interaction into something meaningful rather than casual. Over time, this consistent prioritization builds a sense of emotional security within the connection. A woman begins to notice that she does not have to guess where she stands. His actions create clarity. When he reaches out regularly, follows through on plans, and shows genuine enthusiasm about seeing her, it signals that his interest is not temporary. Instead of making grand promises, he demonstrates reliability through behavior. For example, he might remember when she mentioned being busy with something important and later ask how it went. These small moments communicate that he pays attention and cares about her experiences. Consistency also shows respect. It reflects that he understands the value of her time and presence. When a man is truly captivated, he does not treat communication as a task he must complete. He treats it as something he enjoys. This difference is easy to feel because the energy behind his effort becomes genuine rather than forced. His presence begins to feel steady and reassuring rather than uncertain. Over time, this reliability strengthens emotional connection because trust grows through repeated actions. A man who consistently prioritizes a woman shows that she is not simply an option within his life. She becomes someone whose presence enhances his days, someone he naturally wants close to his world. When a man feels deeply drawn to a woman, one of the most revealing signs appears in the way he listens to her. Real fascination is not only about talking, impressing, or sharing stories about oneself. It is about genuine curiosity toward another person. A man who is captivated pays close attention when she speaks, not because he is trying to appear polite, but because he truly wants to understand her. Instead of waiting for his turn to speak, he becomes absorbed in what she is saying. You may notice that he maintains eye contact, responds thoughtfully, and asks questions that show he is following the conversation closely. This type of listening is powerful because it reflects emotional investment. Many conversations in everyday life are surface level. People exchange words, but rarely feel fully heard. However, when someone listens with true interest, the dynamic becomes different. He may ask about the experiences that shaped her, the goals she hopes to achieve, or the things that make her happiest. These questions do not feel forced. They arise naturally from curiosity. When a man becomes fascinated by someone, learning about her personality, thoughts, and perspective becomes genuinely exciting to him. He begins to notice the small details in her stories and responds with thoughtful reactions that show he understands. Through this attentive listening, he communicates respect. He shows that her voice carries weight and that her ideas deserve attention. This kind of focus creates a deeper emotional connection because feeling understood is one of the most meaningful experiences within any relationship. Over time, his attentive listening becomes even more noticeable through the way he remembers the things she shares. A casual conversation that might seem small to her may stay in his mind for days or weeks. Later, he might mention something she said earlier, surprising her with the fact that he remembered it. For example, she may once mention a place she enjoys visiting, a favorite type of food, or a hobby that relaxes her. At a later time, he brings it up naturally, perhaps suggesting that place or asking more about that interest. These moments reveal that he was not simply hearing her words in the moment, he was absorbing them. People remember the things that capture their interest, and when a man consistently recalls details about someone, it shows that she occupies his attention even after the conversation ends. This level of awareness builds emotional closeness because it shows genuine care. She begins to feel valued not only for her presence, but for her thoughts and experiences as well. Listening in this way transforms communication from ordinary conversation into meaningful connection. Instead of feeling like one voice among many, she feels recognized as someone whose words matter. Over time, this attentiveness creates a strong sense of appreciation and trust. A man who listens with curiosity and remembers what he hears reveals that knowing her deeply has become important to him. When a man begins to feel strongly drawn to a woman, another meaningful sign appears in the way he gradually invites her into different parts of his life. Attraction at a surface level often stays limited to occasional meetings or short conversations. However, when genuine fascination grows, he naturally starts creating opportunities for her to experience the world around him. This might begin in simple ways. He may suggest spending time together in places he enjoys, or he might talk about activities he would like to share with her. What matters is the intention behind these invitations. He is not simply filling empty time. Instead, he is allowing her to step into spaces that reflect who he truly is. Over time, this openness may extend to introducing her to friends, mentioning family members, or including her in small gatherings. These moments are important because people are usually protective of the environments and relationships that matter most to them. When someone willingly opens those spaces to another person, it signals trust and growing emotional attachment. A man who is captivated does not treat the connection as something hidden or temporary. Instead, he allows it to exist naturally within his daily life. You may notice that he begins speaking about future activities in a way that naturally includes her. Even if the plans are simple, the key detail is that he imagines experiences where she is part of the picture. This gradual inclusion reflects how his mind begins to associate meaningful moments with her presence. She becomes someone he enjoys sharing life with, rather than someone he only meets occasionally. As this pattern continues, the connection begins to feel more integrated and natural. She may notice that conversations shift from casual topics to discussions about experiences they could have together. He might suggest visiting a place he has always liked, or attending an event that he believes she would enjoy. The important element is that he wants her to see the environments that matter to him. This behavior reveals emotional comfort because people usually share their personal world only with those they trust. By inviting her into these spaces, he is showing that her presence feels welcome and valued. At the same time, it reflects a deeper level of interest. When a man imagines someone as part of his life experiences, it means he sees potential for the connection to grow. He is not limiting interaction to short moments of entertainment. Instead, he is building shared memories and experiences that strengthen the bond between them. These shared moments allow both people to understand each other in a more natural setting. Over time, this openness creates a stronger emotional foundation because it shows that the relationship is not separate from his life. It becomes part of it. A man who consistently invites a woman into his world is quietly demonstrating that he values her presence and wants her to feel connected to the things that matter most to him. When a man truly values a woman and feels deeply drawn to her, another important sign appears in the way he begins to protect the connection between them. This protection is not about control or possessiveness. Instead, it reflects care and emotional responsibility. A man who is genuinely invested understands that relationships require attention and respect. When misunderstandings happen, he does not immediately withdraw or ignore the situation. Instead, he becomes willing to communicate and clarify things. This behavior shows maturity because many people avoid uncomfortable conversations. However, someone who values the bond will try to resolve issues rather than allow distance to grow. You may notice that if something feels tense or confusing, he attempts to talk about it calmly. His goal is not to win an argument, but to restore understanding. This reveals that the connection itself matters to him. When someone cares deeply about a relationship, they become mindful of how their words and actions affect the other person. Even small gestures of care begin to appear. He may check in if he senses she is upset or try to explain his intentions if something was misunderstood. These actions show that he does not want unnecessary distance between them. Protecting the connection means he recognizes its value. Rather than treating the relationship casually, he treats it as something worth maintaining with patience and effort. Over time, this protective attitude builds emotional security within the relationship. A woman begins to feel that the connection is stable because he does not disappear when situations become complicated. Instead, he remains present and willing to work through challenges together. This reliability becomes one of the strongest signals of genuine interest. Many people show enthusiasm when everything feels easy and enjoyable. The real difference appears when difficulties arise. A man who truly cares does not retreat at the first sign of tension. He chooses to stay engaged and communicate honestly. Through this behavior, he demonstrates respect for both the relationship and the person he cares about. She begins to notice that he becomes thoughtful about how he expresses himself. He may take time to explain his perspective while also listening carefully to hers. This mutual understanding helps prevent small issues from turning into lasting distance. Over time, this pattern strengthens trust because it shows that the relationship can handle moments of disagreement without falling apart. Protecting the connection is ultimately about valuing the bond enough to nurture it. A man who consistently shows this level of care reveals that losing the relationship would matter to him. His actions communicate that the connection is not temporary entertainment, but something meaningful that deserves patience, understanding, and effort to keep it strong. When a man feels deeply drawn to a woman, another powerful sign begins to appear in the way he becomes motivated to improve himself. Genuine fascination often inspires a person to grow, not because someone demands it, but because they want to present the best version of themselves. A man who truly values a woman begins to care more about the impression he leaves on her. This motivation shows up in subtle but meaningful ways. He may start paying closer attention to his habits, his goals, and the way he carries himself. Perhaps he works harder towards something important in his life, or becomes more thoughtful about how he communicates and behaves around her. What makes this behavior significant is the reason behind it. He is not changing out of pressure or fear. Instead, her presence encourages him to rise to a higher standard. When a man respects and admires someone, he naturally wants to become someone she can admire as well. You might notice that he takes pride in sharing his progress or achievements with her. These moments are not about showing off. They are about wanting her to see his dedication and ambition. Her opinion begins to matter to him because he values the way she sees the world. This type of motivation reflects genuine emotional investment. When someone inspires personal growth in another person, it usually means their presence holds a special influence. As time passes, this desire to improve becomes more visible through the effort he consistently puts into the connection. He might pay attention to details that he once ignored, such as planning meaningful time together or thinking carefully about how to support her interests. You may notice that he asks for her thoughts or perspective when making certain decisions. This shows that he respects her judgment and appreciates her insight. When a man feels deeply fascinated by someone, her encouragement and approval become meaningful sources of motivation. At the same time, his effort reveals pride in being someone she values. He wants to be dependable, thoughtful, and capable because those qualities allow him to contribute positively to the relationship. This process is not about perfection. Everyone continues learning and growing throughout life. What matters is the intention behind his actions. A man who is inspired by a woman's presence does not remain passive. He becomes more aware of how his choices shape his future and the connection they share. Over time, this motivation strengthens the relationship because it creates a sense of shared progress. Both people begin to see that the connection encourages growth rather than stagnation. When someone's presence inspires you to become better while still feeling appreciated for who you are, it reveals a powerful form of attraction rooted in admiration and respect. When a man becomes deeply fascinated by a woman, one of the most charming and revealing signs appears in the way he remembers the smallest details about her. These details may seem ordinary on the surface, yet they carry meaningful weight because they show how much attention he gives to her presence. During conversations, she might casually mention something about her favorite food, a place she once enjoyed visiting, a hobby that helps her relax, or even a small memory from her childhood. In many everyday interactions, these details are quickly forgotten because people often focus only on the main topic of the moment. However, a man who feels captivated tends to absorb these small pieces of information naturally. They stay in his mind long after the conversation ends. Later, he might unexpectedly bring up something she mentioned earlier, surprising her with the fact that he remembered it. Perhaps he suggests visiting a place she once spoke about or asks how a certain event went that she had been preparing for. These moments feel special because they reveal genuine attention rather than surface-level interest. Remembering details requires presence and care. It means he was not simply hearing her words. He was truly listening and valuing what she shared. Over time, this behavior sends a quiet message that her thoughts and experiences matter to him in a meaningful way. As the connection grows, these remembered details often turn into thoughtful actions that strengthen the emotional bond between them. A man who pays attention to small things may use that knowledge to create moments that feel personal and considerate. For example, if she once mentioned enjoying a certain type of music, he might remember it later when discussing concerts or songs. If she shared that a particular day was important to her, he may check in to see how it went. These gestures may appear simple, yet they carry powerful emotional meaning. They show that he keeps her words in his mind even when she is not present. People naturally remember what captures their interest, and when someone repeatedly recalls details about another person, it reveals how much space that person occupies in their thoughts. This type of attentiveness helps a woman feel recognized and appreciated for who she truly is. She realizes that the connection is not based only on surface-level attraction, but also on genuine curiosity about her life. Over time, these small acts of remembrance build trust and warmth within the relationship. They create the feeling that she is not just another conversation in his day, but someone whose stories and experiences stay with him. In many ways, the ability to remember the smallest details becomes a quiet yet powerful expression of genuine affection. When a man feels a strong and genuine attraction toward a woman, his body language often begins to reveal what his words may not immediately express. Human behavior naturally reflects emotional interest through subtle physical signals, many of which happen without conscious effort. When he is around her, his attention tends to gravitate toward her presence. You may notice that he naturally faces in her direction during conversations or positions himself in a way that keeps her within his view. These gestures might seem small, but they often communicate genuine engagement. When someone feels captivated, their focus becomes more centered on the person who has captured their interest. Eye contact is another powerful signal. A man who feels deeply drawn to a woman often maintains warm, attentive eye contact while she is speaking. This shows that he is fully present in the moment rather than distracted by everything happening around him. His expressions may soften and his smile may appear more easily when she enters the room or joins a conversation. These reactions happen because her presence naturally brings positive energy into his environment. Body language reveals emotional truth because it is usually spontaneous. Unlike carefully chosen words, these small gestures often appear naturally when someone feels comfortable and engaged. Over time, these signals create an atmosphere where his interest becomes noticeable, even without dramatic declarations. As their interactions continue, these physical cues often become more consistent and expressive. During conversations, he might lean slightly closer when she speaks, signaling that he wants to hear every detail of what she is saying. His posture may remain open and relaxed, which shows that he feels comfortable and engaged rather than distant or guarded. When people are fascinated by someone, they naturally mirror certain behaviors, such as matching the other person's tone of energy or responding with similar expressions. This mirroring creates a sense of connection and harmony during interactions. A woman may begin to notice that when she laughs, he responds with genuine enjoyment, or when she speaks about something meaningful, he gives her his full attention through attentive posture and focus. These patterns build a feeling of presence that is difficult to fake. Body language acts like a quiet conversation happening alongside spoken words. It reveals excitement, curiosity, and emotional warmth in ways that feel authentic. Over time, this steady physical attentiveness sends a clear message that he enjoys being near her and values the moments they share together. His body naturally reflects the emotional energy he feels when she is around, turning even ordinary conversations into moments of connection that feel sincere and engaging.